Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Casual Hour, a podcast ostensibly about video games, but mostly about Mario Day, right? Mario Day? It's Mario Day, right? Mario,
Mario Day.
Mario
Mario.
Day.
I don't know who
Uh,
Mario.
I don't know who Mario is.
I'm your host, Bobby Pease. Joining me, as always, the gamer on the Go Chase Kinnicky and the local resident asshole, Johnny Amazich. Johnny, how are you?
That's as described by KSDK, one of our local news channels.
Local
Johnny
resident
Amazich,
a-hole,
local asshole from the Chiron.
big time asshole.
Mm-hmm.
How are you two doing?
I'm doing all right. You
Yeah.
and I did the same thing today.
Well,
we
can't talk about that on air.
not in this state.
We know you played Valheim.
Oh, hey,
No.
that's code word. That's our safe word, okay? Chase?
Yeah. No, I got
Nothing safe about Valheim.
I was fortunate enough to be able to get the first dose of that Moderna vaccine.
Oh, you got Moderna.
Mm-hmm.
I got Pfizer today.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Johnny's dead then.
I could have had the
sorry,
Johnson & Johnson one, but I wanted the one with the higher efficacy rate. So
They're all fine.
Yeah.
Like honestly, just as public service announcement, as a person who is
yes,
doing
get
some
vaccinated.
work for a statewide COVID vaccine, any of them are fine. Like they're some have slightly higher efficacy rates. Fuck it, just go get the vaccine.
They had to
It's
double
fine.
dose me. They said, we need the horse drink for this big old sumbitch. Give me the.
Bobby's big enough. He needs 2 boosters.
I got Moderna in one arm. I got
Bobby,
Pfizer in the other.
No, you are a Centralian medium.
Yeah. I'm definitely no, Johnny. I'm a Centralia Husky. Please. I just want to go back to when my Jinkos were like in style, but also were like it was cool to be fat because I had Jinkos. Like it was all right. Like it worked out for me. And this is the best
But
part
Jinkos
about
for you are just regular shorts.
Yeah, I basically looked like Croc Hunter when I had them on. The best part about this is that now people can they know they can associate the hurt with the voice and they see it and it's a good thing. But no, I'm thrilled. My wife got the shot this past weekend. My parents both have it. My mom has both shots. My dad gets a second one on Friday.
Great.
I'm just thrilled that it's happening. I did go back to my hometown to get it over in Illinois, and yeah, I mean, I got a sore arm. That's about it. I've been lucky. I don't have any other issues with it.
Yeah, my in-laws and my wife went, and my parents and my sister are all in the process of getting it, and my mom is all done. So,
I'm just too damn healthy. They won't let me have it. They're like, you're such a specimen that we can't.
Virile,
we have
man.
to save it.
I don't know if I don't know how much I should be saying right now, but I'll just say that I think that
you jumped the line. We get it. You murdered somebody and then paid another person off. I
faked my name.
We know.
I said, "Hey, I'm Chris Christie. I can do whatever I want. Give me a shot." You assholes! I'm Chris Christie.
Mr. Christie, what are you doing all the way here in Illinois?
There's a KFC here. But no, I think it is going to get hopefully easier. Chase, I'd love for you to get one. The three of us have not hung out in a long time.
I'm registered.
So I'd like to do some in-person making out.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the Casual Hour. We're mostly talking about video games tonight, mostly about getting shots. But hey, happy Mario Day to everybody. This is a What You've Been Playing episode. We're going to tell you about some of the games that we've been playing. We're going to cover some of the news and later on in the Casual Report there. And just hang out and have a nice, easy, casual stream tonight. Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, like the name of the show.
Leonardo points at the TV. Leonardo points at the TV. There it is.
Got it.
But yeah, Chase, you were hanging out with me. We played some Destiny yesterday. You both came on stream last night. Well, you were in chat last night whenever I was playing a game that I'm going to be talking about today. But you were sharing some insight with me and you were being a little coy. And you said, hey, we're going to talk more about it. And I've been thinking a lot about it. And I'm ready to hear your hot take or your updated take, I should say, on Persona 5 Strikers.
Yeah, it's no longer hot because it's been a week since we've been talking about it. Yeah, so I've put a little bit more time into this. I'm now maybe like 7 or 8 hours in, and I don't know anymore.
Yep.
It's a little hard to explain. One, I think what I said before of this not feeling as much like a Dynasty Warriors game as you would think, because it's made by Omega Force. It's from the Dynasty Warriors people. We've seen them do this with franchises all over the place. We just saw them do it quite well with Age of Calamity. And this game had been made before because it was out in Japan, so I assumed that this was probably going to be a similar thing, and it wasn't. From the initial jump, at least, you went through a dungeon area. It felt a little bit more like Persona, except that there was these little battles that felt Dynasty Warriors-esque in the way that you did the combat there. But then you would continue progressing through what felt like a Persona dungeon. And the more I'm playing it, the more it is still that, but I'm not sure I'm having a ton of fun with it.
That's too bad.
Man. Yeah, I like a lot of what it's doing. I like the characters. It's the Persona 5 cast plus one new one, and plus 2 new ones so far, and plus 3 new ones. Three. There's an enemy. There's a detective dude, and there's a Siri. There's basically Siri is on your side now, and I think they're all fine characters. Maybe the enemy person is not the most interesting to me, but she works. So that stuff's fine. Like the story stuff's okay. It's kind of dumb, but it works. The combat stuff, it is Dynasty Warriors, but the way that they're trying to incorporate the Persona just is not working for me like it did with Age of Calamity, bringing in those Breath of the Wild elements. It has personas. Your main character can switch personas. The other ones are stuck with what they got, like the original Persona RPGs. There are weaknesses and strengths, and those work. But the way you summon your persona, the way you have a mana pool, the same way you would in Persona, and not having good ways of getting that those points back, getting that SP back, even getting HP back is tough. You know how in Persona games you would go into the dungeon or the palace and you could only go so far because there would just be limited items. You
had to rest,
end up running out of. Yeah, you had to go back and rest. And I feel like this game is trying to do those same things, but because this game is not that, it doesn't work nearly as well. It feels kind of bad. It feels kind of slow when you're going through these parts, because there are checkpoints in these dungeonish areas that you're in. And anytime you go to a checkpoint, you can get out of the dungeon and come back to that exact spot, which is fine. And they say if you leave the palace area, then you gain all your health and all your SP back. Great.
Right.
So why don't you just recharge it at the point? Because now it makes you go through a cutscene to get out. It makes you go through a cutscene to come back in. You have to come back to that same checkpoint, and then you can go on with what you're doing. And that stuff's just kind of slow, where it doesn't have to be. Like,
so not as
I appreciate that they
not as like streamlined of an experience as you would like.
Yeah, because with the RPGs, I think it makes more sense. You are on this daily schedule. There does feel like there's a time limit to the things that you're doing. So there is a risk reward to, should I go a little bit further or should I not? And this game doesn't really have that. It has the day system as like a aesthetic choice, but it doesn't actually do anything with that calendar. So there's no real point to gating my progress with the health and mana. That stuff just feels like an extra barrier, something that makes things slower. And it makes combat really unfun. Should I use my personas now? No, because I'm going to need them for a boss fight. So I guess I won't do some of the cool moves, and I'll just keep slogging through with the regular kind of combat.
It-
And then you get to these bosses who have specific weaknesses that you didn't know about before. It's like, okay, well, so I have to use Panther here because she's got the fire. Let me use Augie a few times, and then she goes, well, I'm out. And I go, well, great. I guess I don't have anybody else who's good against this anymore. The early stages just feel really limited, and that's kind of unfun.
I think that you bring up some really valid points. I'm not nearly. I think probably. I don't know how much Johnny's played. I know I'm significantly behind where you're at. I'm in the first.
Yeah.
Like I've gone into the jail. I'm like I've stepped out of the jail. I'm back in the jail. I'm going through the jail.
I think you and I are about at the same spot, Bobby.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what I was expecting from this game besides just what Age of Calamity was. And I think that this does a lot better job at the story beats than what Age of Calamity did, as far as like incorporating that outside of a cutscene. Because that's really all Age of Calamity was cutscenes, action. Where this one, I have like the combat does not feel as good to me by any stretch as what Age of Calamity was. And I think that they really nailed being a Zelda game with like the crazy ambitions of a Warriors game. I find it a little clunky right now. I just haven't found my rhythm on like passing the baton off. Like I don't know, like when should I shoot shit? When should I be using strong and light attacks? When should I use my abilities? And I think that seems to be a bit of an issue right now. I think it'll get there. Like
they do have I'm not so sure. They do have a ton of systems in there, like you're mentioning, and even 8 hours in, I'm going, I don't know when I should be using these things. And also, everything feels really fast in the combat to the point where I don't even feel like using some of these systems is effective because I don't have time to deal with them. I don't have time to think about, okay, I need to use my light, heavy combo here. I need to use this persona here, because mainly it's just, here are a ton of dudes and they're all running up on you and you just need to do something about it. And when you get to bigger enemies, not just like jack-o'-lanterns and things like that, if you have like the bicorns or any of the bosses, those things, I have not found a way to defend or counter them effectively. And that feels like a real miss too. Like Dynasty Warriors games, they usually have a block button somewhere. And I believe Age of Calamity also has a block in there as well that allows you to
so you can
things.
actually parry.
Like when yeah, exactly. The parry stuff is great too. Like when you have one of those bokoblins coming at you and starting to swing, and you can do that Breath of the Wild thing where you can do that last minute rush or last minute dodge and then do the flurry attack.
Yep.
This needs that. And so far I have not found any sort of defensive option other than just I can use one of the persona abilities to give myself better defense, but I can't dodge out of the way of anything. There's a dash and I can kind of dash around things, but it's not a good enough dash to make me feel like, ooh, I'm just dodging out of the way of this, and then I'm coming back in and attacking. It's okay, I've hit the run button now, so now I'm trying to run the other way, and okay, I think their area effect is over, so now I can run back in. But all that stuff is really slow, and because there are usually so many enemies, everybody's just swarming you with these kinds of attacks, and it just makes it really.
If we're gonna be a little critical, like the one thing I will say that I'm still struggling with a bit is the amount of time between combat and the Persona, like in Persona 5 specifically, wasn't terrible because I was doing things that mattered to me, and I was building relationships. I was going out and exploring the city. I was making shit. All those things I was doing, like I was more of like I get to choose. Like so, I still felt like I had some idea of what was going on there. So far, and again, I'm very early in it. This seems like the things that happen outside of combat take a really long time and have very little control, or you have very little control over what those are. It's almost like it's on rails.
Yeah.
And so the combat, which is what I really enjoyed in Persona and what I liked a lot in Age of Calamity, is now behind a story that like I'm not building these relationships with these characters the way that I was in a Persona game. It's almost like I'm like, I don't know, like stepping into a different reality of what I made in Persona 5. And I think that that's an interesting thing for me, is that this is seemingly like the time between combat is really fucking long, and it seems like they didn't give you the opportunity to work on relationships or other elements, like, which I get. Like, look, that's Persona, and this is not like, this is Persona, but it's not Persona.
Yeah, so and I mean those, those relationships have already been forged. This is like a special reunion.
Sure.
Like after the show is concluded, the characters' arcs have ended, and we're getting them all back together for one more caper.
Totally, and that is, I feel both of those things. Like, one of them is absolutely like I've S ranked these confidants. I don't need to do that again. Like, we're already best buddies. We already worked through our shit. Everything's fine. But also, being that this is essentially a Persona game, there should be some S-Link kind of stuff in there. And the best thing they have is this bond system that you just gain points by continuing to play the game, and then that just unlocks basically a skill tree, and that is their version of the S-Links, and it's just not the same thing. And what also bums me out is that, yes, the main cast is there, nobody else is. Like, it's the main cast and Sojiro. Those are the people that they've seemed to have gotten. So at one point in the game, they're like, oh man, if we're gonna go back into these jails and palaces again, we need to stock up. Let's go talk to Kemi and get our medical stuff. Let's go to the airsoft gun guy and grab some shit there.
And even the dude in the
Kemi's like, yeah, sorry, at a medical conference, bye. And then the guy's like, yeah, I'm temporarily closed, sorry. And you just never see them. Their voice, I'm sure it was just, hey, we don't have the money.
The penguin looking dude down there in the velvet room also, like, there's hardly
Igor,
anybody.
Yes.
Igor's gone, and I don't know, like, I get it to a degree, and I'm not this like deep knowledge source for Persona, but I was kind of excited to see the doctor again. I really enjoyed her, and I was hoping to go back into the airsoft. Like, I was kind of excited to explore those places again, and maybe it'll happen.
I wanted to see the shogi player again, or the
what was
fortune
that kid
teller,
that said,
or the reporter
shithead kid at the arcade with the hat?
Oh yeah, get smoked.
Get smoked.
Oh,
get smoked.
That dirtbag.
Yeah.
Love him.
So, do you think that this is something you're
just
keep
none of those
playing
people are there? I think so, at least for a little longer, because the one thing I do want to see, I think I am at the end of this jail.
Okay.
I've done things where I think I'm at the point I'm sending the calling card. It has the calling card in there. So that's cool. So I'm sending the calling card to this potentially first boss, and I wonder where the game goes after that. Is this person going to be a recruitable character once I knock them out of the shit that they're doing? Are they going to be a persistent boss over the whole course of the game, and something else will happen? Will there be a new boss, like a Persona game, where it's like, okay, we fixed that problem, let's move on to the next problem? I'm interested to see what happens after this. So I will at least play that far. And again, I like being with those characters. It's nice to hang out with Makoto again, and Ryuji and An, and Yusuke's
please,
there.
it's Lady An.
Yes, of course, Lady An.
Lady An.
Lady An.
But yeah, I want to like this more than I do, and it's kind of a bummer.
Hey, maybe it's like Persona 5 original, where it's going to take you 15 hours before you like it. Maybe it's just keeping, saving face for what it was.
I will say, I've had it in the plastic wrap all this time. Johnny will know, because I accidentally bought him a copy too. That copy of Persona Q2 that I had.
Yep.
I finally took that out of the plastic wrap and have put it into my 3DS, because I thought, I really like the idea of a Persona game, but also Strikers isn't really doing it for me, so like, maybe I should look somewhere else. And I have not started it yet, but it's in there. So there's part of me that's like, I can
just play Royal.
I can pull the Q trigger.
I think Royal's where it's
I can play Royal. I could do that, or I could go to the dancing games again and play some of the dancing stuff. What
else you been up to, man? Anything else?
Not a ton. I've been playing a lot of Destiny still, and then Animal Crossing, of course. I am now as of right now, 13 more days. We're less than 2 weeks until the 1-year anniversary of Animal Crossing and my freedom, and that'll be fun.
I mentioned that to Sarah, my wife, my lovely wife, who is a huge Animal Crossing fan. And I think that we're going to do maybe a little celebratory stream for you. I think that we're going to fire up Animal Crossing.
Love to do that.
And get everybody to hang out and just kick off a year of you playing that game, show off the islands on stream. I think that'll be really cool because we haven't really done a tour or anything like that on stream. So maybe we do kind of just a celebratory stream of what's happened with Animal Crossing, and we'll just have a good time with it. Really send that off the way that we need to.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do, like one last hurrah and to show you some of the new things on the island. I've changed my main room when you first come in completely, so that'll be fun to see. My museum is almost full. The art is not there because Red is a bastard. He came today. He had a new painting today, so I got that.
Oh, good.
I just finished all the Gulliver stuff, so he gave me the recipe for the golden shovel today. So that's exciting.
Any new villagers you've had?
I was gonna say the big news is I finally found that motherfucker. I have Raymond on my island now.
Good Lord.
Goddamn glasses wearing 2 different color eyes.
How many tickets have you wasted on that stupid fucking cat?
Oh, a shit ton. So yeah, he's now way more than that.
What?
It's gotta be way more than that. I had 60.
How are you making
That's
money?
probably closer. I've been doing this over 300 days. Of course I've been doing this.
Good Lord.
That's a lot.
Money's no problem. Like we took care of that with the turnip stuff pretty early.
Money's different. I'm sorry. The tickets. How are you affording the tickets?
Yeah, you mean the points?
Yeah.
Well, I play the game every day, Bobby, for an hour, and I do probably most of the things that give you the double or 5 times the points. And so I just bank those for a rainy day, and then when somebody leaves, I buy all the tickets I can, and it's hell, but I do it. So on this last one, I had 60 tickets. Yeah, well, I'm free of having to do it for Raymond. If somebody else wants to move out and I can just go and pick up the first cool villager I see, absolutely, I'll do that. I still think I have like 40 tickets from the leftovers I had for this last Raymond hunt.
Okay.
So I can look for some other people. I may have done something really stupid and bought a couple more amiibo cards.
Oh, Chase.
I don't know why. I'm about to be done with this game. I don't need more villagers, but I did it. So yeah.
I gotta know. Obviously, none of us were with you whenever you found Raymond, but what?
Yeah.
How did you react when it finally?
I was laying on my couch, and I think it was lunchtime. No, it was a Saturday, so it was. I was just hanging out, and he was like behind a tree. So like I couldn't quite tell when I first got to the island. I was like, all right, let's see what we got here. And there was like a little pond and a tree, and then he was behind those things with his little campfire. And I saw a bit of a cat, and I'm like, okay, that's good. It's a good sign. There's so many cats though. And then he turns around, and I saw those glasses. I went, oh shit. and it was probably about that loud. Actually, probably even louder. I'm sure my neighbors. Like, what the fuck?
You said you were lying down. Did you sit up?
Yeah, no, there was definitely a jolt up of like, oh hey, it's that guy. And then the first line he says is something like, hey, bet you didn't expect to see me here. It's like, you're goddamn right, I didn't.
What if you were?
I've been expecting to see you over the last 300 fucking days.
Yeah, don't come. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that'd have been pretty shitty. I did make sure to take a photo immediately, just in the off chance that I accidentally hit the wrong button.
Sure.
It's like, I need proof. I need proof that Raymond was here at one point. But now he's on the island. I have his poster.
Okay.
I have said that if I'm going to try to get his picture, which means like becoming best friends with him and giving him a shit ton of gifts. So that might make me play more than the year. But I've still been doing this photo a day thing for Animal Crossing, and that will end on the 23rd.
Hey, I had a thought the other day. If they continue the tradition of what they're doing, which I still haven't got all my Mario stuff. I need to log on and make sure I get that. But with the pipes and the mechanic that added.
Pipes are so good.
Yeah, and there's some really crazy shit happening with pipes, but with knowing that this is the 35th anniversary for Zelda, I'm really hoping that they do something similar with that, and I hope that they bring the hook shot into an item that you can have, like a tool, and you can use that hook shot to get around. I think that would be fucking awesome to like get up on cliffs. And
it
like,
would be, which is why they're not going to do it.
I know, but a guy can dream, right? And if it happens, come back to this stream and just say, "Hey, good job, Bobby." That's all I'm asking for, like an attaboy here.
Previous Animal Crossing games have had Zelda stuff in there. There's been a Master Sword that you can get. I think there's been a Triforce you can even get.
Okay.
So it's not, like the previous Animal Crossing games were pretty cool.
There was also like
this one had a bunch of shit.
Epona was an actual islander, right?
No, I don't think that's true.
No, a guy can dream. Well, Chase, outside of like getting your dream character, is there any other games that you want to update on? Or
I played a tiny bit of Super Mario 3D World. I basically, because when we played it, Bobby, we did the co-op, and I went over to your place, which meant it didn't unlock any of the stuff. So all my progress was still at the beginning. So I basically just played to where we were.
Okay.
Except I chose not to play the one stage that we had with the touchscreen shit, because I was playing
it's not
docked,
not
and
good.
I didn't want to deal with that. So I was like, I'll wait until I can play this handheld to do that stage again, because I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, I didn't play much more. I thought about doing Bowser's Fury, but part of me is like, I really need to experience 3D World.
I don't think you do.
The original first. I think I do, because that's a game that I've wanted to play. I've wanted to play that game.
But I don't think you have to play that one as like a precursor to this. I think that they're very different.
Probably, but I still want to experience.
I respect
Let the man live his
sure.
life, Bobby.
I understand.
And then guys, I went a little bit nuts.
You did?
Ooh, you want to get nuts?
I did.
How nuts did you get?
I asked the group chat, the casual hour group chat, what I should do. Should I play something short and sensible for the podcast, or should I play something ridiculous and fun? And Bobby said,
"No, you didn't say fun. You said dumb.
You can't have fun." Bobby said, "I can't have fun."
I said we've already got
fun.
I said we've already got enough dumb here. Is what I said.
Yeah, sure. But in essence, in summary, Bobby said, "Don't have fun. Play things that are good for the show, not fun for you. You're not allowed to have fun." And I went, "Okay, Bobby, I guess I'll do that." So I skipped the for now, at least, I skipped the 60+ hour game, and I decided to play the
You're welcome
3-hour game instead.
How was it?
Yeah, so I played nuts. I haven't finished yet. I'm halfway through.
Are you liking it?
6 stages, 6 chapters, and I'm at 3. Yeah, I really like it. I think this game is rad. It's the more I play it, the more fun I'm having. At the start, I thought, there's a lot of control things here that are just awkward, especially on the Switch. That just button stuff that doesn't feel good. But as I've gotten used to it, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like nothing here requires like absolute precision and accuracy. The thing that probably bugs me the most is that when you're using the TV at the end, you're using the recording equipment, you have to individually use the analog stick to move between those buttons, and that sucks. If there was just a way for me to use the D-pad to quickly select the or touch, and maybe touch works, but I've only played the stock. Okay. I wish there was a faster way to use the equipment, but other than that, I think this game is awesome. It is really cool. I love the lead up of it. It's just a gentle incline of what's going on. I think they do a really nice job, a really elegant job of onboarding you into how this game works, and then giving you little twists on the action. So the first thing is, you're here to take photos of squirrels. You're here to see. You're like part of a. What would you say, Bobby? You're like part of a group that's trying to save this forest.
Yeah, you're definitely
save the squirrels.
You're a forestry team for sure. that's been going on for a while.
There's a company that wants to build a big condo on this area, and you're this conservationist. You're like an intern for this conservationist area that's saying, if we can get photos that show this endangered squirrel species lives here and has a habitat here, then they can't build their shitty condos. So that's what you're here to do. You're here to take photos and get this evidence for these squirrels. Great, cool. So you get in there and they give you a camera that you move around. You have a little GPS. It feels very Firewatchy in a way, whereas you're kind of like walking around a wooded area. You've got like your little map here on one side, and it's like, okay, just put this camera in front of this tree. We know a squirrel lives here, so just kind of see where it goes. So you set it down. You go back at night, and now you can view the footage that happens, and you go, oh yeah, there's that little squirrel motherfucker. That's awesome. Okay, he ran that way. So the next day, you tilt your camera a little bit and see, okay, let's see if I can figure out where he's going. And then you just spend a couple of nights moving your camera little by little to see where that squirrel gets to. And then he gets to like his little food stash and you take a photo of that. Great. Awesome. Now you move on to the next area. And now they give you 2 cameras. Okay, this is kind of cool because now this squirrel's a little bit trickier. He kind of runs one way and then he goes behind a rock and then he runs a different way. So having those 2 cameras is really nice because now I can kind of scout out where I know he's going to be, and then I can have another camera that's kind of like, well, maybe he'll go this way. So this is kind of like a camera for luck to see, maybe I'll get lucky on this one, or I can show like the same view, 2 different angles of the same kind of view, and get a really good idea of where he's going next because he's a little tricky. Like, okay, and so you spend a few more nights. You get through, you see that he goes up on this rock. So, I have to jump on these rocks and get this better view here. Cool. I got that one down. Found his stash. Like there's some story stuff where he's like also stashing dynamite and matches. And I don't know where that's going yet. But I was like, okay, that's fun. That's interesting. And now I get to the 3rd spot. And the 3rd spot, I think, is where they really start to do cool stuff. They give you a 3rd camera, which is like, well, this is almost cheating. Like, come on.
Right.
Like 2 cameras was enough to figure out the squirrel. 3 is overkill. Like, this is easy stuff. And like, okay, yeah, just follow the squirrel. So I follow the squirrel. No problems at all. It kind of like goes down through like a little ravine area that makes it a little hard to see. But honestly, in like a couple nights, I know exactly where he goes. Except exactly where he goes is in this little group with 2 other squirrels. And they all just meet up with each other at the end of
just like
at the end of the tape
every Wednesday night.
Exactly, every Wednesday night. And then the researcher person who's your boss is like, oh wow, we didn't know they congregated. That's really interesting. See where the other 2 squirrels came from, and that just adds a different layer to what. Because now I have to do what I'm doing, except do it backwards. Yep. And make sure that I'm tracking the right squirrels, because now I didn't even see these 2 other squirrels until the very end. So I know where they haven't gone, but I don't know where they have.
So much fun to deduct.
It really is. It really is. And so I found one first and followed him, and he's like up in a treehouse. And it's like, okay, that's really cool. Awesome. Took a photo of that. And then as I went back, it's like, okay, I have to retrace my steps. Let's go back to the original shot. And then I can go track one of those squirrels again. And what happened was, I was like, man, this squirrel, I spent a couple nights like, I don't know where this squirrel's going, because it feels like it's coming from the same area as that first one I followed, but it's not. I'm trying to take different angles because like obviously it's not coming that way. And then I realized, no, motherfucker, you idiot, you're just following the first squirrel again, except backwards. You followed the wrong squirrel.
Damn it.
So
you followed the wrong squirrel.
So then that was pretty dumb of me, because they do color code it. It's like there was a different colored squirrels. Like I should have just known. And whatever. Anyway, I ended up following the right squirrel and then getting done with that. And it's great. I'm starting to move on to chapter 4, area 4. Good. And I don't know what cool stuff there is there. There are like lots of little story stuff, little story pieces in there too. Like you see an old ship in one of the areas, and your journal updates and says, oh, maybe I should take a photo of this for the boss lady and see what she has to say about it. And then she can come back on the radio and go, Yeah,
weird.
I didn't know that was there. That shouldn't be there. Let me look into that. So it does give you a little bit of Firewatchy story as you're doing the relatively menial task of just following these squirrels to take photos of them. But it's
Sure.
all great, and I love getting back to the trailer and seeing these 3 monitors. Now that I have these 3 cameras, I have 3 monitors up, and it's all very analog. And I like all the analog stuff where it's like, okay, I need to change the channel to number 2, to camera number 2, so now I can zoom in and do whatever I need to do with this one TV. And now, okay, let's move to channel 3 because I have this other angle, and let's see, I want to get here. And now I've got the printer, and I need to move that to channel 3 so I can take the photo that's on the third TV screen. I love all that little stuff. All of that feels great, and it's just those fucking play, pause, fast forward buttons that also are analog but just don't feel good because they're just millimeters apart, and you're trying, okay, I want to fast forward it, but I need to stop it right there. Fuck, I missed it because I was trying to move over to the button again.
There's a really simple solution to this.
That stuff. Play it on PC. Spend $1,500.
Get a PC.
But
how much? It's not a one size
not
fits all now. It's just like, hey, every week I can find another reason to just get you over here with us, and we will whittle you down.
Yeah. No, you're not whittling me down. If anything, you are galvanizing me to say, fuck off, Bobby. I'm not dealing with this condescending bullshit of spend $1,500 to solve all your fucking problems.
What if I do it?
And I'm not going to do it.
But nicely.
If you do it, I'll just cut you off entirely.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah. With Bobby, I'll just be pissed. But with Johnny,
speaking of cutting things off, let's move on like a hot rock. Find a new game for me to tell you about. How about that?
Is it the same game that you told me about before on the stream?
Last night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really new.
It's new to me, damn it. Hey.
It's actually kind of old. Did you play that on your fancy
you
PC?
just broke down nuts after I did weeks ago, so we've got that going for us. But
yeah, but you didn't do it like I did.
So no, I had you two join me last night on stream, and we played. Well, I played Loop Hero, which is a really fucking interesting game, and I don't know like how much you had seen or heard of it before last night, and I think that it's going to be old hat at this point in time when I bring it up to you two, because I mean you got to see it in action, you saw my triumphs and my failures with it last night, but. This is a Devolver Digital published game. I can't remember the name of the studio that's actually making it. It's the same people that made that one VR, like, what was it called? Don't Touch Anything? Or something like that.
4 Quarters.
Yeah, 4 Quarters is the developer, but they made a game.
Please Don't Touch Anything.
Yeah.
It's their other title.
This game's really cool, man. It's a throwback. It's their pitch is that it should be living inside of an old ass like 80s computer is what you would expect it to. It has that look and feel from a graphic standpoint. It's got an awesome soundtrack to it, but it's a really interesting combination of a few things that we might be familiar with. So I think at the heart of it, it's a roguelike game that is putting your character in a post-apocalyptic setting where they're trying to remember what the world was on a procedurally generated loop. And when you see this loop, it's a pretty barren map. You are acquiring resource cards that are literally like straight up land cards. In doing so, you are finding elements that are from the past world that you're using to rebuild a camp or a base in doing it. And as you're progressing through this, you're generating the map. So it's almost like a reverse tower defense. And I said that last night in the stream, and I don't know if that really translates well, but I
think that makes sense.
You're like basically building up a map that is doing its best to keep you from being successful to get through it. But at the same time, you need that map to spawn the resources that will lead to boss battles, but also better your character. So as you progress on it, there's 2 meters that happen. You've got a day cycle and you've got a boss encounter. Both of those are going to be filling up throughout the game. The day timer just goes on its own, and that brings on a slew of things. It gives you a bit of a buff on each day cycle. It also spawns new mobs back onto the map that you would have based off tiles there. As you are plotting out your layout, there's things that you can use to benefit you, but there's also biomes that you can put down that will seemingly combine together and create other things that create boost for you, but also new mobs on the map. And those mobs are more powerful with each completed loop, but it also drops a higher level gear for you. Last night on the stream, I was playing as the starting class, which is the warrior class. But I did today unlock the rogue. And so I have the rogue now. It's a completely different play style on how you collect loot and do it. And it's like a trophy-based system, which is really neat. And where the warrior had a weapon and a shield, the rogue is dual wielding 2 weapons. So you can be a lot more aggressive with it. And like you also are able to equip boots on top of armor, which do all kinds of stuff for evasion. So it's a very different play style. And as you're killing things, you're not getting the immediate reward, but you have like a spoils bag. And so when you get to your campsite, it opens up your spoils bag and you can go through that and really map out what you're going to have for each loop. So there's some really cool shit there with it. But there's all kinds of microsystems that play with this. Like, again, the base building is all of your element resources. There's some actually really rich story. The story writing, I think, is done pretty well for a game that's just talking heads. I'm pretty obsessed with it. It's got this addictive nature to it where
it's that one more.
It's just that one more. I can do one more loop. And like that really got me in trouble last night.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's not only that it's one more loop, but if your character dies, it's okay. Well, I want to try one more time. It's like double that one more.
It's brutal
effect.
And I think that like ultimately, like last night, I got cocky because I had a really early success with it. And what I should have done was look at my health and realize that, hey, you need to cash in here. So there's really 3 ways that you collect loot. Every time you get to your campsite, you can leave the loot and you retain 100% of what you have. If you die, it's 30%. So you lose 70% of what you have if you die. You can leave outside of the campsite on your own accord and retain 60%. So if you think shit's going sideways, just fucking bounce. And I think that this game, especially early on, it doesn't make it like seem that you're grinding, because the grind in itself, like what really tricks you is like you're seeing the loot that you're getting. Oh, I'm getting better loot, so I'm doing the grind. Like I can progress forward on the loop. But ultimately, the loop's grinding with you, legitimately. Like it's grinding you to grind itself. And it just fucks you terribly if you don't pay attention to it.
Oh no.
It does. Like it's insanely like it's unforgiving, and it goes from 0 to 100 in no time flat if you're not playing it out. And like you end up screwing yourself over immensely, because I want these things to spawn on the map because they're going to make me better. But then you get to a point where you've now got 3 to 4 tiles worth of swamp or forest or grove or a cemetery, and then you've set yourself up for like failure, because those things are getting just as strong as you are. Like it's that Newton's law situation where it's hitting you back as equally as hard as you're hitting it. And I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fair, first of all. Like in a game like this, it can be completely punitive, but it also like it reminds you that you did this to yourself. Like this is a game where you made every misstep the entire step of the way. Like you literally designed the map that you're cursing for what it did to you. And you could have been smarter, and you should have just fucking dipped. And like that's what I should have done last night. I would have retained more. So I did that today a few times, and I was able to get 2 of my camp sections built back up. And I fucking love this game. I think it's so cool. It's such a cool concept. It's got a lot of systems at it, but I think it's I haven't even touched on the deck building, and that's like the softest deck build I've ever seen. Like you basically are just picking out like what resources you want to play with, where like a game like say the Spire, you can be a lot more nasty with what you're doing with your deck or those types of resources. So I
do have a couple questions.
Yeah.
One is, so I like the clockwork nature of it. I like that little bit of balance of trying to figure out how can I help my character in ways, because you're like putting down things like battlefields that give you better loot, and then was it like beacons or something that help your health, while also building up the shit that you have to fight as you're going through this stuff. So I like that balance, that risk reward stuff. When you're talking about the loot that you get, the loot you're talking about though is more like resources, or the stuff that you leave the loop with. Those are like resources to build back at the base. So what happens to the actual loot, your blues and your swords and your boots and your shit, that all goes away with each time that you go. Is that right, or do you get to retain some of that?
So you don't retain it. There is a smithy that you can have back at camp, and so you can start with 3 like gray items on each loop. So you're starting out already at an advantage there, and there's things that you can expand with that. Your equipment, so you have 12 slots that you have a rotation for your equipment in. As you're going through and adding more to it, those are just moving out. So if I'm at 12 and I get a 13th piece, the last or the oldest piece just automatically goes away. And when it goes away, it's broken down into a material. As you progress your camp, there's even more, like there's a whole crafting section where, I have these resources so I can craft these elements now, whether it be food or those types of things, or I can break them down into like core resources. So there's a lot more control that you get but later in the game, because you've unlocked those abilities to do it. So when I'm playing the game, when I have those things going right now, as I'm not equipping it, it's just feeding into the actual resource pile. The whole thing that I haven't been great at is really getting strategic, and it's abundantly clear that it's not about just having higher level stats. It's about making a fucking build on the fly, where there's, so far that I'm seeing, it's magic damage, it's regen, it's vampirism, and I think damage to all. Like those are the 4 categories that I'm seeing as far as like stat boosts go. And so like there's already like a meta around like, how do you build? Like you might not have the highest gear stuff, but are you building towards like, you want to just suck all the health away from whatever's damaging you? And last night when we got to the Lich King, I was 3 hits in. So like I was not in a situation where like I thought I had good gear. I was like level 10 gear, but I did not have any synergy between the items I was wearing to be more specific about what was going on with it. So I think that on top of managing all this, you should really be looking at like how you're going to make these builds and go that route.
So my other question is about the loops themselves. Do those evolve at all? Because every time you jumped in, it looked like it was basically just another variation of a ring. But I could see maybe a more strategic thing of like, oh, well, now it's like a figure 8. So I know I'm going to have to go through this same space twice, which might make a strategic point of like, oh, if I put a swamp here, now I can put like 4 times the swamps around it because it's on a 4-way cross. Have you seen anything like that? Have you seen anything where maybe the loop is really wide for one stretch, so you can't put down specific kinds of tower things there to help you, and then it's really narrow in other spots where it limits what you can put?
Yeah, so I ran into that last night a little bit and today. So there was one where it kind of had like, it looked like a rabbit's head almost. Like, so down here in the corner, it was definitely like a bigger like square. But then there was a really thin, just like basically path almost on top of path that looped around. So I had nothing that I could put in between these sections. And what really sucked about that is, so it's not necessarily like that you would go back over these things, to your point with the figure 8. It's that the things that you're putting out there, whether it be a beacon, a vampire mansion, a biome specifically, they have a wider range on them. So like my beacon does 9 tiles, and that's the point. Like it's supposed to overlap on areas, produce better things for me and slow shit down there that's against me. But then that vampire house, like I ended up putting the vampire house on that thin portion. Well, it was doubling up all that because of how it reached. So now I'm doubling down. So anything that would spawn, whether it be a chest, even a slime, which is the easiest target in the game, always had a vampire with it every single time. And then that stuff gets chaotic because then you've got other elements that are coming out from the exterior into it that you have no control over. So I put down more stone. It randomly associates a goblin camp. Well, it just so happened that it put the goblin camp in the heart of those vampire mansions. So now I've got vampires spawning on all these goblins that are coming out, which, as I talked about on the stream last night, the goblin leader, if anything dies around it, it gets enraged. Well, the problem being is that you don't choose what you attack on this. So in that particular instance, my character was going after the vampire. The vampire was healing itself. So this fucking leader was getting everybody worked up. There was 4 goblins and 1 vampire, and it just ripped me apart. All that was my own doing, but there was some randomness based off of the things that spawned in there around it with that goblin camp. I had no control over it. but also that vampire mansion took up, I think it's 4-5 tiles that, like, when I placed it, it encompassed all of that against me. So like there's really weird things that happen with that, and how like the bloody, I can't remember what it was, basically the battlefield that you would have there, when I put 2 of them next together, it creates a blood path, which I get 2 chests, but now I'm spawning a whole nother enemy type, and that plays into it. But then there's also like, if I have a grove and I didn't give myself like the proper the proper room to grow with it, I can't put there's like a bloody forest or something like that I can put next to it. That there's a really cool thing that I put in my deck for today. If I get an enemy near 15 HP, this tile automatically finishes them off for you. And it's just vines that come up out of the ground and get them. Well, I can only put that with grove. So if I put the grove down, I didn't give myself room to put that on it, I've got a wasted card that's in my deck that I can't use now. So you're also like giving yourself room to do these things. It's really fucking
Sounds
wild.
like you're spinning a lot of plates in this game.
And it's wild too, because you're almost not playing any of them.
Yeah, because it's almost like an idle game in a lot of ways too, right? Like it's mashing all these different types of games.
I don't think it's a second monitor game, but it's definitely close to idle.
Well, it's windowed, right? So like you could just minimize this and come back and do the loop later. And I did just buy this game right now.
It's still on sale, right?
While you were chatting. It's also on Mac, Chase, and has very modest system requirements. So your MacBook could definitely run it.
It's just a mouse input. I mean, it's very simple to play.
Yeah.
Are you, Bobby? Are you aware of the things that you can do? Like, you have all these secret things. I remember in the stream, one of the things you were talking about is if you get these 9 mountains together in a group, so in a square group, then it turns into a much bigger mountain peak, and it gives you a lot more resources, but it also spawns some special enemy. Is that something you knew, or something the game told you, or something that you had to do and just figure out from it happening naturally?
So the mountain peak happened by accident. I can tell you that was it's one of my favorite moments so far this year, was just like, to my surprise, like not knowing, like I'm just trying to put things, I'm like, okay, I'll put the mountains over here and cluster them up. Well, it was kind of sloppily put together too. Like I wasn't like keeping them in a nice grid. I just happened to get so much that when I hit 9 in one particular area, it became this mountain peak. I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. And then all of a sudden, so the first time that harpy encounter happened, I hadn't encountered the harpy after I did it. Like I ended up like dying or like leaving with my gear because I got a bunch of resources from it. But there's little things there that like I don't know all of them. And the crazy thing is that I haven't even got all the resource cards yet. Like there's wheat fields and like all this other shit that you're going to get. Like I have no idea how that interacts to it. The other thing too is like I did a lot of stuff with the meadows last night. The meadows are seemingly this kind of like what you would put like off to the side to get you all the resources that you would need from a health standpoint. I had no idea that if you put a meadow next to something that's not a meadow, it converts into a blooming meadow and it gives you 1 more percentage of HP. Like that, those little nuanced things that like really are like, let's try some new shit. Like I'm going to put this next to this and let's see what happens. Like I haven't even gotten into the whole crystal strategy. I tried to last night and it failed miserably. It seemingly like is a game all about curiosity. Also at the same time, like I'm really curious, like what happens if I put this over here? How will this interact with it? What does this loop look like at stage 4, 8, 12? Like what's it going to be looking like when it has all these things spawning up on it? And it does give you some tools that you can use to try and manage that. But like I'm not even, I don't know what the like chapter system or the world system looks like. I'm on world 1 of this game. I don't know if this game is just that difficult or if I'm just this bad or if it's a little bit of both.
Get good, Bobby. Come on.
I'm trying. But it's just like I'm thinking to myself, like, what's going to happen as I progress past this next level tier? Like, do I get more resource cards? Does the map change? Like, what does the loop look like on chapter 2? To your point, is it a figure 8? Does it loop back onto itself? Like, does it do crazy shit? I have no idea.
So you don't even know like what the end of this game or if there's an end to it.
Like, no, I know that I'm spawning the what seemingly is the main boss on this loop. So I don't know if it's that small of a run. and then you're like, okay, you did it, he'll come back, like kind of eternally comes back. So you win that loop, you progress to the next chapter, you go back to your camp, and you do the same thing to get that character to spawn again. I don't know if there's anything beyond it, which is kind of crazy. Like I don't know anything about this game, but I'm so curious. It's just wild.
Man,
it's really, really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, man. I was running daily stuff in Destiny last night while I had the stream pulled up on the other monitor, and just listening to you play and watching it, it really kind of sold me on it. So I'm eager to check it out myself for sure.
And like selfishly from a streamability standpoint, what I loved about that game is there's so many natural breaks in it that like lets you pause and talk with the audience a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a game that I think works really well on stream, just from like, let's dissect this together. Like, what are your thoughts here? Like, did you catch something I didn't catch? Like, I didn't hear the chicken noise last night. And then you said in chat, like
it's definitely the cuckoo noise from Zelda.
Yeah.
You mentioned that earlier on the stream, though, before John even got there. Is the rooster calls when the day happens, and so then Johnny came in talking about some chicken, because he doesn't know the difference between a rooster and a chicken.
It's fair.
They're both chickens.
It's a cloaca.
So,
are you Steve Irwin right now?
Loop Hero is out. It's definitely a really cool game. I think worth checking out. Johnny brought it up. It's on PC, it's on Mac. I mentioned Linux. And Linux, and I mentioned on the stream last night that they are interested in bringing it to multiple platforms. So I think it will come to console eventually. They even mentioned mobile, which I would love to see this. I don't know on a phone if you can really scale down the interface to a phone, but I think about like FTL on the iPad, and like I really enjoyed playing that on there, and this might be something that would be worth playing like on a tablet. So
very cool.
Really quickly, I played a little bit more Bowser's Fury and still really enjoy what they're doing there. And the base is coming along really well in Valheim. We completed.
You're doing such a good job with that, man.
Thanks.
I've just seen the pictures so far. I haven't logged on this week, but from whatever you showed me, like 3 or 4 days ago, whatever it was, last time I was on, it's really coming together. And
this is like, thanks, man. This is
awesome.
like the biggest thing I've built in a game. This base is massive, and
is it bigger than the place you had in our old Minecraft server?
Yeah, significantly. So it's the biggest thing I've built in a game.
This is the real Loop Hero. I defeat you guys talking about Valheim every week, and then the next week comes and it's back again. I can't.
Oh,
good video
I can't kill it. I just can't kill it. I'm in a loop.
What is dead may never die, is what I'll tell you.
Except your lights.
I'm fixing that one there. There we go. That lights up. So yeah, still playing that, building that. I might play more of that this week. The server's going good. We've got a lot of cool shit happening. And we got the third boss down, so there's only 2 bosses left in the current version of the game. It's
so you're almost done.
I don't know. Like, I think it really does depend. Like I'm basing the progression more off material, right?
Play his game. He's a good boy. Let him play Valheim.
I think that
I've let him play a lot of Valheim.
I honestly, like, I don't look at it from the standpoint. This is truly how I'm progressing in this game. I'm looking at it based off of what I can craft material wise. And so the game has 2 more metals currently in this build that I can work with. One is silver and one is black metal. And I will feel very accomplished once I unlock the ability to use black metal. I will feel like I have done what I need to do there. And Chase, I assure you, this building will house a red wedding for you if you'd like to see that happen in the game. And we will.
I don't even know what that means.
Use the black metal to burn down churches, because that's.
Yep.
That's what I associate black metal with.
You're gonna murder Johnny and his wife? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's it. This one's gonna happen for you. Okay. But yeah, still playing that and having a good time. But Loop Hero has definitely been occupying a lot of my thoughts lately, and I'm thinking about the strategy with it. So more to come on that. There's some other exciting things coming out in the next few weeks. So we'll see what the staying power is for Valheim and other things. But another favorite game of yours is in the rotation here very soon. So you can pick between watching Monster Hunter or Valheim, and really,
I might just, not watch the streams. That might be the choice I make.
yeah.
You don't want to support your good friend Bobby?
Um,
I'm okay.
And then Outriders on April 1st, as Smurf has said in our chat. So Johnny, I'm gonna pass it off to you. I think I know what's going on here, but I want you to confirm my thoughts.
What's going on?
I don't know what's going on here. I've never heard of
know.
either of these games.
I know what's going on here.
What's going on is Johnny paid for a month of Apple Arcade, and
that's why I've never heard of these games.
Yep.
You chose the poor time to do it. There is a pretty big game coming to Apple Arcade here soon that might be worth checking out.
I will probably continue.
I'll tell you, any time is a bad time to get into Apple Arcade.
So you
don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
What?
You don't even have Netflix.
I do have Netflix.
Do you have Netflix?
We don't have time to get into Chase's digital hoarding problem.
I've got
for another podcast. Yeah, so like you guys, I've also been playing Destiny. That's been like the big console game I've been playing lately. Had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life and with my family that has made me not want to. I don't know. I've been in a little bit of a funk the last couple weeks. So I've been playing a lot of.
Jesus Christ! It's been weeks. It feels like 12 fucking years of knowing you.
Damn it!
You've been in a funk. Oh, I'm not playing anything now. Gee, is that how easy it is? All I have to say is I'm just fucking in a rut. Can't play anything. Is that what it is? 12 years? Is that what this has been?
Has it been 12 years?
Yeah, 12 years almost.
12 years a gamer.
It's been 11 years.
Almost
anyway,
12.
So felt like 12.
I forgot to
or 2 weeks.
I forgot to cancel Apple Arcade after I got my free 3 months through.
That's how they get you.
And I didn't download one thing during that free trial period. So I fired up the App Store, which is another thing I don't really do anymore. And I checked out a couple of different games. And one of them I think is quite good. The other one I'm undecided on. So the first one is called Populous Run. Bobby, have you heard of this one?
It's basically Fall Guys, right, for Apple Arcade?
There's no online component of this. So it's a runner. It has very goofy, cartoony graphics, and the levels are full of food and other objects. But the object is to get to the end of the course with at least one runner. And as you're running through the course, you can grab other people who start running with you. And along the way, there are various obstacles, things that get into your way that kill those people. Basically, they get moitered. And at the end of it, yep, they get goiters.
Okay.
At the end of it, you get a score based on how many people you have with you, how many people you lost, etc., etc. I think it's all right. I haven't played a ton of it, but I would say, Bobby, since you still have Apple Arcade, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say check it out.
Okay.
So I would be curious to know what you think. I think this would be a good, I'm on my 15. I've got 5 minutes to
Populous Run.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is. I know, Populous is not spelled that way. That's actually how the game is spelled in the title.
I will download that right now.
The other game that I played, and it's a shame that it's only on Apple Arcade right now because I think Chase would really enjoy it, is a puzzle game. Bobby, you should also download this one. It's called Spire Blast. And you guys, so I don't know how closely this even relates to the game I'm about to mention, but you remember Boom Blocks on the Wii?
Steven Spielberg's Boom Blocks.
Didn't you shoot cubes at other cubes and it made those cubes blow up? Is that okay? So this game has a medieval theme to it, and each level there's a tower made of these different colored blocks, and you have a different color little orb that you have to fire at it each time, and you have 2 to choose from, so it gives you 2 at a time. You can swap back and forth between those. Right? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You get different power-ups. So there's one that makes all the cubes of a particular color disappear. There's one that changes the colors of a group that you tap on to whatever orb you have currently selected. And then there's one that's just a rocket that blows up a part of the wall. And it's very physicsy. And it has a very gradual lead up in its difficulty. And I actually looked, and there's a lot of levels. I played the first 25 or so. And it eventually introduces, like, hey, here's a dragon. The dragon's hungry. You need to feed it blocks. And
Valheim.
Yep.
Got it.
So if you get 3-star rating on the level, but you don't feed the dragon enough blocks, then you still fail and you have to retry it. Or eventually you'll get ones that have, it looks like a little wooden shield on top of it, and it takes 2 of the same color orb to break it. So you'd be like, hey, you need to break 16 of these shielded blocks. And then eventually you get ones that have metal cages around them, and you have to break so many of those. And so what seems like a really simple, mindless sort of puzzle physics game eventually turns into something where it actually requires a bit of thinking around your strategy of how you're going to dismantle this tower. And you also only have, I think, between 30 and 40 shots that you can use each time, so you can run out of chances. And it's like, I'm really enjoying it. It's maybe like one of my favorite phone games I've played in a really long time, which, granted, I don't play a ton of games on my phone, but I see this one staying installed and saved in my games folder for the foreseeable future.
I have it downloaded.
Yeah, Chase.
This is not an Apple Arcade game?
It is an Apple Arcade.
This is regular App Store?
It's an Apple Arcade game.
Never mind.
But
stick with hold down.
You earn gold coins during each level that you can then use to buy more of those power-ups. You can replay levels, like in any puzzle game, to get a better mastery rank. It looks like there's 2 different worlds in it right now. I'm still in the first one. I think it said, let's see. There are 40 in this one I'm in now, so I'm about halfway through. I really like this game. I think it's a really cool puzzle game, and I look forward to playing more of it.
Really quick before we're gonna take a quick break after this segment, but really quick, the game that I was mentioning earlier was Fantasian. So I don't know if you've seen anything about this. It's from Mistwalker, and they've basically like hired these people to come in and build these fucking insane dioramas that they've gone. This game looks insane, absolutely insane.
I remember seeing Polygon or Kotaku or whatever article about it, and it's from one of the creators of Final Fantasy, right?
Mistwalker.
Mistwalker. Sorry.
Yeah. So like they did Blue Dragon and shit back in the day, and seemingly I think that they've been. I didn't see a whole lot since like the 360 era from them, but apparently they've been kind of doing mobile shit, and so no, it says coming soon. It is an Apple Arcade exclusive, unfortunately for Chase, but it is such a fucking cool looking game. Like the worlds, I mean, they completely built the worlds, and they're animating these really cool textures and stuff over it. It looks so good. So I'm excited to check that one out. Fantasian. It says coming soon, so I don't know how soon that is. But we're gonna take a quick break here. Bio break, as they say on the Zoom calls for those kids at school, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Hang tight and chat, and we'll be right back, folks. night to everyone. Let me get the Discord boys brought back in. Can you all say something?
Yo.
Okay.
I hope you guys remembered Donald Trump when you got your COVID-19 vaccines today or in this last week, often referred to as the China virus vaccine. You know, and you should know that if he wasn't president, you wouldn't be getting that beautiful shot for 5 years at best, and probably wouldn't be getting it at all. I
thought we were.
I hope everyone remembers.
That's
a statement from the 45th president.
He might as well be
United
commenting
States,
on like
Trump.
his ex's like new boyfriend's picture. Yeah, I hope you remember that she was with me first. She loved me first.
How did he get that out? Like he can't tweet it. Who?
Valheim.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense because that game is garbage. That makes sense.
He's got a pretty popular
did I ever call baseball garbage? Yeah, I did. We're even. That's
you
fair.
did. You did. Like, don't even lie.
I just had to see if I took the high road.
By the way, Hades Tigers champions. It doesn't really matter, but
Johnny,
my team won.
Yes. Are you ready? Have you got your equipment for the casual report? Hello. Welcome to the casual report.
It's very loud.
Johnny.
Hello.
Your source in the field. Breaking news here tonight on the Casual Hour. It's time for another
casual report.
There's some interesting news this week. Not necessarily the biggest stories.
That's great.
That we've covered,
but we also have news from 2 weeks ago because we didn't have a news segment then.
We do.
Yeah.
So
there was some big stuff then that we didn't cover.
Yes. And I'm gonna lead with this story, not the biggest story, but if there is any way that we could maybe potentially persuade you to join us, is Monster Hunter Stories 2 coming to the PC.
But it's also coming to the Switch.
But it's also coming.
Then, but why would that sway me?
Because it's a game you're looking forward to coming to a superior platform. I realize this is not the most persuasive argument, but look, I'm just here to report the facts.
So I don't. The original one is not on PC. It's on 3DS. I believe it's on 3DS and iOS.
Is it
it is on iOS, which is it's very weird. I would not play that version. I mean, it's probably fine, but
there's no controller support. It's a touch only, so it's not great. No, I'm excited. I think that we don't have it on here, and I don't think we've talked about it. So like, this is probably an opportunity just to like mention this. But Bloomberg having dropped that story that the Switch is going to have, an OLED screen, 4K support, that sort of thing. Sometime maybe this year, and I know that Monster Hunter Stories is that this year or is it next year?
It's this year.
It's this year?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. I think the Switch is probably where I'll play that game.
July, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense for me to play that there. I would if there was some sort of
it's not a Monster Hunter game though. It's just an RPG. Like it's not you don't need to worry about playing with friends. It's not I mean, I don't know if it has a multiplayer thing. I doubt it does, but like it's not a game that you
Sorry,
need
Chase,
for
do you
that.
have a mic? I can't hear you. Do you have this little microphone like Johnny? Because we're doing the news. Do you have a small microphone that you can use for the news?
No.
Okay.
I have a journalism degree.
Okay, we'll allow it.
I think I outrank.
We'll allow it. We're just reporting from the field.
I don't need you to talk. I went to ITT Technical Institute. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you know how to work a camera. You don't know how to.
I just went to a liberal arts college.
My school was shut down by the federal government, so we don't need to get into.
So I think that I will get this on the Switch, knowing that there's probably going to be new Switch hardware this year. I would like to play it on that. That's what I'm going to do.
It's a Switch ass game. Moving on.
Whoa! We skipped over the best part, guys.
What?
There's new amiibo.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
And we're going.
We're going splitsies. Yeah, we're going when it's 3 people. It's splitsies.
Yeah, because Chase benefits and
We'll all get the exclusive outfit armor pieces that will come with
Layered
these
armor.
exclusive amiibo.
I'm gonna put mine up
We've
there.
all already picked. There's three amiibo. There's a Rathalos, which I already have a Rathalos amiibo from the last Monster Hunter Stories game. So Bobby called that one. That's fine.
I called the Palico.
And then Johnny and I got the garbage ones. He got a Palico, yeah. And then I got the anime lady is holding an egg.
She's offering it to you in this trying time.
Yes, I'm sure. She's definitely the Frank Reynolds of anime.
Now, Chase, I'm just going to say right now.
Yeah.
Just doing a quick scan of the room, okay? Quick scan. I'm looking at my room, no anime. I'm looking at Johnny's room, and there's a creepy baby taking a shit on the shelf behind him.
Yeah.
I know that you're not technically.
You're looking at my room, and you're seeing a refrigerator. And
I know why you're moved tonight. I just figured it out.
No, I moved because my next door neighbors are watching Training Day or some other movie, and you can just hear Denzel Washington yelling.
How many?
Which, maybe people would rather listen to Denzel Washington than us. Well, wouldn't blame you.
How many anime women amiibos do you currently have?
Anime women amiibos. That's very specific.
Well, you said that you're getting one and you didn't like it, but I feel like
journal.
No, I'm saying I don't care for this particular, and I don't know anything about this anime lady.
She could be awesome. Though. She could be best girl of the year.
Doubt it, but I have Lucina from Fire Emblem. She's anime adjacent. I've got female Corrin from Fire Emblem. She's anime adjacent. I have Celica from Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. She's anime adjacent. I've got a Pikachu. There was an anime for Pokemon. I don't know if that Pikachu's male or female though, so it's hard to say.
What I can say is that there's going to be friends for your new friend.
I have the lady. No, I don't have the lady. No, she was the one I didn't get. The Monster Hunter Stories one before. There were 3 big monsters, and I only got the 2 dragons.
But we are getting those amiibos, and they're going to look really cool. We can even rotate them. If you don't want the anime lady on your shelf, we can just do like nights and weekends or something like that. Where we rotate.
Sounds great.
Take us there, Johnny.
You may move on, Johnny.
That's Monster Hunter Stories 2. Finally, so this story was EU and the SEC approves. Xbox
More like PU. Am I right? Got him.
And between now and now, they've officially announced Microsoft rather owns Bethesda and all of their properties proper. So I wrote the line here. I'm pretty proud of all your Elder Scrolls belong to Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
So there's a quote in here from this write-up that Phil did on the Xbox website.
What shirt was he wearing?
Ooh, maybe he's wearing Battletoads when he wrote it. I don't know. With the addition of the Bethesda creative teams, gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games, including some new titles in the future that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players. So still like being pretty vague. Wasn't
there supposed to be something today? Like an actual I thought there was supposed to be some sort of broadcast where they're going to be like, hey, here's actually what's going on with it. Like, let's make sense of this.
If there was, I didn't hear about it. I was checking the news up until like shortly before we recorded this podcast. So here's my bet. I think that Starfield, Xbox PC only. I think the next Elder Scrolls, there's still a chance it's multi-platform. But the quote-unquote best version will launch on Game Pass and all that.
Johnny, it's a shame that you don't look any better than you do because now you're just ugly and dumb. Because Elder Scrolls is going to be... There's no way you write a fucking $7 billion check and say, take it. ESO Online or ESO Online or ESO
will be all of the money.
ESO will be multi-platform.
Until Skyrim, Elder Scrolls was like essentially
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft exclusive anyway. Morrowind and Oblivion only
Yep.
came to the Xbox and the Xbox 360.
Fallout since 3 has been.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
I
the
just don't see it,
they
man.
haven't been as vague as they have been, and like I assume a lot of this is
What's
still
the
very
biggest
much
game that they make?
discussion.
What's the biggest game that they make?
Elder Scrolls of Fallout.
No, it's okay. It's Elder Scrolls. You're right. It's Elder Scrolls. Specifically, it's Skyrim. Why on earth would they get the fucking crown jewel and be like, everybody can get it? And I got news for you.
Because they'd make more money.
If the shoe is on the other foot, which we got another thing, it's not. So there's no way that anybody would be talking about this in a sense where Sony's like, oh yeah, we just bought Bethesda. It'll still be on Xbox. It wouldn't even be a fucking conversation.
But Sony's not Microsoft. Like we've seen Ori is on Switch. Like Microsoft Minecraft is everywhere. Like Microsoft allows some of these games to still be on other places. That's why we're having the conversation. You're right. If it was Sony, we wouldn't be having this conversation because that doesn't happen except in the case of this one baseball game. And it's not because of Sony said that they had to do it. It's because baseball said they had to do it.
And okay. Look, I'm not saying, for sure it's coming out on everything. I'm saying it's a possibility. Or maybe...
Of course it's a possibility.
You play it first on Xbox. Like the first year this game is out, you can only play it on Xbox or PC. And, they would probably sweeten the deal a little bit, but like, hey, all this DLC is going to be part of Game Pass. So, like, I think there are strong arguments to make for either case. I'm very interested.
DLC is not enough to get people to jump over to their platform. It's just not.
Sure, but it's still Bethesda. Like that name carries weight, and so.
But if you say if you want to play fucking Elder Scrolls, build a PC or get an Xbox or buy Game Pass. Buy into Game Pass. That's literally it. That
could absolutely happen, but they could also be like, "Hey, it's coming to everything," and then
because like right now, if you were somebody with an Xbox and you're like, "Man, that God of War game looks really fucking cool," what are your options? Buy a PlayStation, play God of War.
But again,
or wait for it to come to PC.
Two very different philosophies. Phil has preached about making games like everyone so like we want as many people to play these games as possible, so they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth with this stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised either way, and I think that's because of the history that Microsoft has been building with this. Like we know Sony's history; they don't do this kind of thing. So
your iPhone is going to get Elder Scrolls before your PlayStation does.
Okay.
If it gets it at all,
it's fine.
We're still. At least
I'm not going to buy it there either.
Away from the next Elder Scrolls game. So, anyway,
Microsoft will own Sony by that point in time.
Johnny, yes. Let Bobby read the headline for this next one. I'm interested.
Okay,
this is a curiosity.
Bobby, over to you, Bobby.
Final Fantasy VII Remake getting Yuffie chapter and free PS5 upgrade for owners of original game doesn't apply to PlayStation Plus version.
Yes. So there was a.
I did not know if you knew how to pronounce her name, and I was just interested to see if you said Yuffie.
So if you own FF7 Remake on PS4, you get the upgraded version. You still have to pay for the Yuffie chapter, but if you got the free version of FF7 Remake on PS Plus this month, you got to buy the whole kit and caboodle on PS5. They're not giving you that upgrade for free. And she's getting her own chapter, which is very interesting because
I don't want to know, because I don't care, because I don't want to know anything about it. I do care. I know I care immensely.
You care.
I care to the point where I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know anything about this character.
Stuff. Okay, non-story spoiler stuff though. Like she is not as much of a main character as some other Final Fantasy VII people.
Is she bigger than what Jessie was?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a party member. It's just the way
she's a party member.
Okay.
Meet her. I'm interested to see how her being in Midgar at the same time as what's happening in.
There are a number of characters in Final Fantasy VII that are party members, but also are either skippable or just like have relatively no backstory.
Yeah.
and Yuffie is kind of one of those characters. So this is interesting that we're going to get to learn more about her, since you actually don't really learn a ton about her over the course of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really excited.
It'll be new. It'll be new to everyone.
Yeah.
I'm really pumped also to see this game at 60 frames and running like the way that I think that's gonna look really. I mean, that game already looked insane on the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Do you guys plan to replay this game?
I'm definitely gonna play. Well, I think that I have the game backed up to bring it over into my. I think that's a cloud save I can download. But I am absolutely gonna at least fire it up and check out a chapter.
Cloud
but
save.
the Yuffie stuff.
I get it. I get what you're saying. It's funny. It's funny.
It's good. It's good.
All right. Yeah. So that's exciting. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We had a Pokemon Presents, which I think we all agreed was out of the Pokemon, the Sony, and the Nintendo proper. This was the best presentation that we got over the last couple weeks, was it not?
It was really
I
good.
think the three of us would agree. Hearing what the internet has to say about some of these games,
Yeah.
we might be in some of the minority here.
Online.
Oh wait, the internet doesn't
yeah.
like Pokemon news? That's weird.
No, Pokemon fans.
Pokemon fans don't like Pokemon news.
So Diamond and Pearl getting remade. Those come
needs
out.
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yeah. Those come out, what is that? Holiday this year?
Mm-hmm.
They also announced the thing that I've been dreaming about for as long as I can remember and have been enjoying Pokemon games, but an actual open world Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends. Is it Arceus? Is that how you say that?
Arceus.
Arceus. That's announced for early next year. So we got a 2-minute trailer for that.
You all wanted, and you bitched and moaned after the last Nintendo thing because you didn't get any Breath of the Wild news. Well, there it was.
Yeah. And this is going to be set in Sinnoh, making Sinnoh's first Pokedex. And the starters for this, interestingly, will be Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott.
It seems like it's
somebody.
Go ahead, Chase.
I saw a reasoning for that. It's because those three are based on Japanese mythology, like actual. So Oshawott turns into Samurott eventually.
Yep.
So that has samurai implications. Cyndaquil, I think there's like an ancient beast that is similar to that in some way, and then Rowlet is like an archer.
Is this feudal?
Ancient times archer.
Like it seems to be.
Suppose like semi feudal. We'll see. Like it's I think it could be really interesting. I shudder. I'm more optimistic than what some Pokemon fans are saying, but at the same time, I kind of agree with Johnny. Is like one of the things I really would like to see is an open world Pokemon game. That'd be so cool, right?
Yeah.
And
I used to dream about it.
seeing how the wild area worked in Sword and Shield, and I'm sure that was like a dry run for what they're considering here. The wild area was fine. I don't like it was not my favorite part of Sword and Shield for sure. So part of me wants to temper my expectations a little bit. I do kind of like what I saw there, that the battles aren't real time, that the battles are still turn-based things. I think that's kind of cool. I like the idea of dodging between patches of grass and trying to come up on a Pokemon. I wonder how some of the capturing is going to work, like whether you're capturing just in the wild or whether you still have to wear down a Pokemon in an actual battle before you can throw some of those Pokeballs. Maybe it's a mix of both. That stuff will be interesting, and I'll also be interested to see what Pokemon they bring in, because if what they said about Sword and Shield is true, that I imagine there's going to be even less of a Pokedex in a bigger game like this, because they'll say we just have room to make full 3D versions of all these, and I think maybe what?
I just wonder how long they've been working on this game.
Yeah. And I think they have an out by saying, if this is an ancient Pokemon game, like way back, certain Pokemon haven't evolved and developed yet. So yeah, we don't have all these species yet. So I think they can get away with it. People are going to bitch about it, but
I do think it's a little strange that if this is set that far, and looking at our own natural, like real history, like animals haven't changed drastically, like some breeds haven't. But I think like if we can have variations to the degree that we do on the Galar region and the Alolan versions of these, like I'm hoping, and maybe there will be, there's like whatever this time frame is, let's just call them like feudal variations of these Pokemon. Like there should be something distinct about them that I think would signify like the time. I'm really into like what they're trying to do here. As little as I know about it, I'm very curious. Like we've talked for a while offline and online about Pokemon, and I think that like I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but like when we look at what happened with the DLC stuff for Sword and Shield, like I think that it left us wanting a little bit more. To put it plainly,
I still haven't really played the.
That tells me
Tundra
everything I need to know, man. Like that tells me
so many, and there's so many cool legendaries. Like I really want that Galarian Zapdos, and there's a part of me that's like, man, I should go jump in and get that. The other part of me is like, but that would mean having to play more Sword and Shield, and the more I think about Sword and Shield, the more I'm like, I don't think I maybe really like that game. I mean, but I think we got it gave it like number 4 or something for our game of the year, but
it was my number 2.
It was a situation where I
remember I had it high, but
I think that they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. Like the formula every single time, like even when I first started going down this rabbit hole of playing all the Pokemon games, you're all like, hey, don't bring yourself out. It's basically the same shit on just a different fucking side of the coin. And not that we know that this is going to be that much different, but I applaud them for at least doing something that's not Pokemon Snap, or which they already are, or like the Pokemon Rescue Dungeon or whatever that was that came out. Like this feels like it's getting the same treatment that like a Pokemon proper title would be.
Like it's not an offshoot. It's
right.
It's its own thing.
Right. And I don't remember the reception for Breath of the Wild. I mean, people were excited, I think, for sure, but people were like, this doesn't look like Zelda. And I think that was like tripping some people up for sure. And I know that
maybe initially, but like as soon as that came out and people touched it, immediately any of that was watched.
That's what I'm getting. I think that I'm hoping that might be the case here. I mean, it's early. Yeah. It's early for that. And like, if they have been working on this, to Johnny's point, for a while, it could be a bit rough. Or if they just started, even more so because of everything going on with COVID.
Yeah. I will say I am actually extremely excited for the Diamond and Pearl remakes. I think that every remake that Game Freak has done, I think they've done a fantastic job with them. I really like Fire Red and Leaf Green, the way they brought in newer mechanics into that older style of game. Same for Soul Silver and Heart Gold. I really, really like those games. The way they look, the way they sounded, all the stuff, extra stuff that was in there was great. And even the games I like the least of Ruby and Sapphire, those Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, I thought were actually really fun and did some really cool things. So I'm pretty jazzed. And then I guess you could say the Let's Go games are also kind of remakes, but those are kind of their own thing. I can understand where people are coming from, that they don't like the chibi art style. I appreciate that it's still tile based and it's still going back to what that game looked like in a sense, just with a different art style to it. And I don't know. I'm really interested to see what new features show up here. Like what things from Sword and Shield show up here in like some de-evolved way. Like, are you going to have some of those Galarian Pokemon show up in this game? Because that's what they've done before. They would bring in new Pokemon into the old worlds, and that would be fun. But how are they going to look in this art style? How's a Toxtricity going to look in this art style? How are some of the mechanics from Sword and Shield, like the fossils that you fuse together to make some of those guys? How would some of those things transfer to a game like this? That's the stuff that's really interesting to me, to see how they play with some of those ideas in what is still a pretty traditional style Pokemon game. Those 4th generation games were, people said, they didn't do anything to him. It's the same game. And it's like, yeah, you're right. But now they have a chance to do the same game with a bunch of new stuff that they've learned over the years. Is this going to have mega evolutions? This is going to have Dynamaxing. Like some of that stuff is a really interesting thought experiment to think about.
Sure.
Yep.
What else we got, Johnny? Rounds it out.
This last story I put in here isn't as interesting as I thought, so we're gonna get rid of that. It's Mario Day, as we mentioned. Nintendo put some old Mario games on sale for 35%.
Not even really Mario games. I mean, like Mario Tennis. Like Mario Tennis is a Mario game, I guess.
Title.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is not a Mario game.
Mario Maker, Mario Party, Mario Aces.
Like put Mario 3D All-Stars on sale because you're taking it away from people at the end of this month anyway.
Yeah, you only
what
got
are you doing?
Play that.
Come on, Nintendo. Anyway, if you're hearing this, it only goes till the 13th, so you've got a few days to get your hands on these games for
Mario
slightly cheaper.
Adjacent games.
Finally, Mario games.
This is like a surprise drop today, right?
This is new news. This is breaking.
So, do you guys remember the old Ninja Turtles beat 'em ups from the NES/arcade days?
Yeah, Johnny, I have scars. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. How would you like to have some news?
No, those games were good. Scars was the NES, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES.
That's true.
Yeah.
The beat 'em ups were great.
Yeah, beat 'em ups are really good.
So this is Shredder's Revenge. It's being made by the devs behind Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game.
Oh, cool.
It comes out. Did they put out a release date?
Also the makers of Flint Hook. Bobby, you liked Flint Hook.
Of course. I don't see a date.
Wizorb. I like Wizorb. No, there's no date. I put it all in the news. It's all in the bullets, Johnny. I wrote all this shit for you. I did the job like a journalist.
So, no platform specified other than the PC. But this is very exciting. The trailer for that got me so hype.
I saw a GIF. I love that each turtle has its own style of run. I thought that's really fucking cool looking. Yeah. It looks great. It looks really good.
That's the sort of thing that
if we were the Ninja Turtles, which ones would we be? I was thinking about this earlier.
Donatello.
You think you'd be Donatello, but like you're the host of the podcast, so I feel like you have to be Leonardo.
I'm probably more Raphael.
I think no, you're not cool. You're rude, but you're not cool.
Yeah.
Johnny, I think, has to be Donatello as like his IT based background.
Chat's saying it right now.
He's
Chat's
not
answering
it. Okay.
I'm Leo.
Donatello was always my favorite. Yes.
Okay.
Vank is Donnie, and we're waiting on Chase.
Because Chase has.
I mean,
the rep.
I think Chase, I am cool but rude.
You're right. They call you Raphael.
I also have no reach, so that makes sense.
Who and then I guess
and we have no party dudes like the chat. The chat is our party dude. You're Michelangelo,
and then friend of the show Jason is Splinter. Because
I was gonna say April O'Neil, but yeah, that works too, I guess.
And, that's Jude.
Yeah, maybe I'm April O'Neil because I have a journalism degree.
Long blonde hair.
I would love to be Casey Robbins. Or Casey Jones. Sorry, Casey Jones.
Yeah, Casey Jones.
Oh, that's true. Glass is Casey for sure.
Yeah, I think Bobby gives off a bit of a Krang energy, if you ask me, just as being like a giant weird body.
Just belly with a fucking brain in it. God, Krang was so gross. You know, though, Rocksteady and Bebop was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. I had a big action figure of Krang, and just like to be able, like you could open like a little clear door in his stomach. It was fucked up.
Yeah,
so
good.
Our dog Hoagie, little pug, had, I don't know if you remember this, Bobby. I think I shared this with you guys. He had a little wart on his lip that was big and pink, and we called it Krang. So
What? Why? Why would you do that? Krang's gross enough. Not to you don't have to make it a growth off of your dog's lips.
I mean, it was really nasty.
Oh wow. So chat now says if we're going with villains, Bobby and Chase are Rocksteady and Bebop with Fank being Shredder.
Okay. But who's who though? This is an important question.
Oh yeah, which one of us is Rocksteady? Which one of us is Bebop?
I can't remember who is who.
Rocksteady is the Rhino. Bebop. Okay. Oh, we get no response in chat.
Yeah. Bebop's
but that's
the pig.
Yes.
Bebop for Bobby. Bebop Bobby.
Blue.
Beboppy. That's me.
Are you sure Rocksteady's the Rhino?
I think Rocksteady's the Rhino. Now I have to know.
Yes, Rocksteady's the Rhino.
Yeah. So I'll be their Warthog.
I'm happy being I'm happy being Rocksteady.
Okay. No, that game that'll be cool. The only thing that would make this better is if they got Anamanaguchi to make the soundtrack for this one too.
They might. Who knows?
That would be fucking. Can you imagine them doing the Turtles theme song? That would be pretty fucking rad.
It'd be all right. I mean, they have the theme song in the trailer. It's nice. It's good. It's a good version of that theme song. I have not kept up with the Turtles in a while. I know they've had some new Nickelodeon cartoons and some new art style stuff. But I think there's been some new games too, like some 3D brawler stuff that some people said might have been okay. But this is getting me. Like I was huge into that arcade game. I didn't play too much of Turtles in Time, but the arcade game itself was the one I was huge into, and this looks very much like that. So I'm in
here for it. Johnny, thanks so much for taking us through that casual report. That was a lot of fun.
Yep. You're welcome.
Let's wrap this show up, huh? You want to do that?
I got a kiddo I gotta take care
of. Doesn't that kid take care of himself? He's a grown ass kiddo now.
You would think so sometime, but yeah.
Put him in front of Roblox, he'll figure it out.
So we'll wrap up here. Thanks everybody for hanging out tonight and chatting with us. Johnny, thanks for taking us through the news. Chase, just to recap, you talked about Persona 5 Strikers, you played a bit of Super Mario 3D World, talked about Nuts. You talked about Animal Crossing 2. Covered Loop Hero, updated a little bit on Valheim, and said I was still playing Bowser's Fury. Johnny went down the Apple Arcade route, played some Spire Blast and Populous Run. The news was a lot of fun tonight. We are going to be back Friday with a stream. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Probably Valheim. Could be more Loop Hero. That was a ton of fun. But for the sake of Chase, he can play Blaseball while I'm playing Valheim. We'll just compare notes.
Blaseball's always playing.
Chase, if you wanted to talk about something that is worth playing, why don't you walk us through what you do for Gamers on the Go, and we'll get an update there.
Sure, yeah. Gamers on the Go is a podcast I do that's not at any set time. We just kind of put out episodes when they happen. But me and a guest will talk about a handheld game or franchise or a piece of hardware occasionally, and we'll just kind of talk about the full game and its legacy and its inspirations, and it's a good time. You can check those out at gamersonthego.com, at GOTG Podcast on Twitter. We've got a SoundCloud, so you can listen to the episodes there and download them, or just go on iTunes.
That is awesome. And Johnny, we always ask you what you've been up to and what you're playing. What's that?
You already know.
What is
it's
it?
Minecraft.
Okay. How's that going? Are you having fun? Anything new?
No. And
so the chicken nuggets of video games. It's the same thing every time.
Chase, Smurf in chat said for Gamers on the Go, if you have a link for the Bo Jackson baseball football game on the original Game Boy, if you've done anything for that, they want a link to that episode.
So I have not done that, but I am a big Bo Jackson fan. I will. I'll look into that. Maybe when the Analog Pocket comes out, we can take a closer look at that.
Yes.
Nice. And look, if you enjoy what we're doing here, give us a follow. We have a YouTube channel where you can find out some of those other quick look videos that we have, or other VODs that we've done. If you want to check out Loop Hero, after hearing us talk about it, there's a stream from last night that you can go see on our Twitch and our YouTube channel. So give us a follow there. If you're listening to the show, please make sure that you can give us a rating or a like on whatever podcast platform you use. We are hosted by Anchor, but on all platforms for podcasting. We are live Wednesday nights recording, usually Wednesday nights. If you want to watch it live, and if you want to tune in later, it's Friday mornings at 9 is when we post that episode. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you online here soon.